p.m. Bixby Public Schools Administrative Center. This meeting will be live streamed on Bixby PS Info YouTube. We are going to call the meeting to order. Justin?
Here.
Matt?
Here.
Amanda? Here. Julie? Here. Chair is here. All right. We are going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. We've got some guests.
We have some wonderful young people from West Elementary today. Mr. Roman Hicks and Lyndon Payne. How are you guys today?
Good.
All right, you're in charge. Go for it. Oh, you want
that?
It's not official if you don't have a mic, Mike.
Hi, my name's Roman Hicks. Please stand.
Back up a little bit so everybody can see.
All right. Salute.
I salute the flag of the state of Oklahoma, and symbols of peace unite all people.
Okay. And then Lyndon, were you going to do the other one? Pledge?
It's okay. We can go out of order.
Good.
We're ready.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. It gets a little scary when all these adults are looking at you. So what grade are you guys in? Second grade. How's it going so far?
Good.
What's your favorite subject? How about you, Roman? Matt? Okay, who's your teacher?
Miss Grace.
Is she here? No? She's gonna make it
I
tonight.
think she was sick. She wasn't at school today. We had a substitute.
Okay. You won't be, you already know that? All right. And you're going to football, right? I can tell. Are you going home?
Yeah.
Okay. Who brought you here today, Lyndon?
My parents and my sister.
Okay, who are they? Point them out to us. Do they have names?
Amanda, Peyton, and Tyler.
All right. Thank you both for bringing that. And Roman, how about you? Did you just walk here? Or no, your dad brought you? Okay. Is your dad over there? What's his name?
Jared.
All right, Jared. All right, does he help coach football too? Okay. Fantastic. Well, thank you guys for being here today. I've got just a card for each of you, and we're going to get a picture here in just a second. And then the official gift sponsored by Chick-fil-A for our pledgers. There's your, whatever you call them, squishies. Squishies.
Ow.
Cows. Okay, we'll just go with that. And there are some gift certificates there, but protect those because, again, you've got siblings and parents who might try and take those. Be very careful, be very careful. All right, ready to get a picture? All right, Ms. Fryer, will you join me?
You guys are welcome to come over.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Let me, you want to see it? Yeah. Okay.
Put you right behind Christy, so you're hidden.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
guys.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, awesome.
He does.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so number 2, reports to the board. We're gonna move to 2.1, superintendent's report. Rob Miller.
Well, hello. Good to see you here today. This is officially our final meeting in the old bank building we call the administration building. Our next meeting will be on November 14th in the new administration building. So we're very excited about that. I do have Miss Jernigan over here. She's monitoring the status of the homecoming.
Trying to. We're gonna have to put an air tag on Mr. Patterson.
Or listen for the siren.
Yes.
Band or
Well, I
something.
may have to go monitor from outside, but glad to
So,
do it.
For members of the audience, just know that when we know that the homecoming parade is heading this way, We are gonna adjourn for about 15 minutes so that the board can attend and watch that, and then we'll come back in and resume the meeting wherever we left off. So, superintendent's report's fairly short. There is a lot going on around here. Some highlights before we get to the announcements. A couple weekends ago, we had a really successful Saturday with our athletic and fine arts teams. Our cheer went to Union for state championships, got third in their area, but very impressively won their sixth straight academic state championship for cheer, which is phenomenal. And we're always very proud of how they do. Our Marine Corps JROTC outfit is also traveling. They've had 3 competitions already this year in something called Raider drill, which is more physical. It's rather than the drill and ceremony, it's more obstacle course and combat action sorts of things. But most recently, they won first place in an out-of-state competition. So very proud of them for that. And then our band went to Owasso and took first place over some schools that are larger and have larger band programs than we do. So we're very excited. Tomorrow at our homecoming, they will unveil the 4th part of the band performance. So if you haven't seen it this year, it really is fun to watch. And so this weekend, they're at Union competing in the Renegade competition. Next week, they'll be in Indianapolis. And then 2 weeks after that will be the state championships. It's a little, what they call Bandtober. So any band parents out there probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So a lot of great things going on. I had the opportunity last week to, at North Elementary, visit a classroom and see first graders publish their first works of writing, which was really fun. And those things happen every day in our schools, and I'm just very proud of the work that our teachers do with our kids. And so anytime you have some extra time, let me know, and I'm sure we can find something fun for you. These are just the announcements. Of course, homecoming is tomorrow night. I think homecoming is actually at 6:30. The football game starts at 7. There's the information on the band if you wanted to come see them on Saturday at 3:30. This Sunday is one of our great events every year, Muddy Baseball. That'll be at the baseball field at 2 o'clock. Next Wednesday, which is the day before fall break, high school will have pre-ACT, so those of you who have students in grades 10 through 12, 10th graders will be taking the pre-ACT, and then 11th and 12th will be distance learning that day, just because of the need for all the teachers to both administer and chaperone that exam. 9th graders will be in session if you didn't get that message. But we were able to get enough staff to be able to leave them in session. We will start moving out of this building technically on the afternoon of the 16th with our technology and phones and things like that. Then we have movers coming in on Thursday morning to move desks and all the stuff you see. We'll be moving to the new building. We hope that on the morning of the 21st, we will be operational pretty quickly with phones up, computers up. But it will take us a few more days, obviously, to get all of the remaining materials over there. But if you've driven by there in the last day or two, you've seen trees going up and sod, kind of those last details that we're doing. So we're very excited. It's a little ominous to think about how much work we're gonna have to do in the next week to get over there, but
A lot of packing and unpacking.
a lot of packing and unpacking. And bringing stuff home that we don't need, filling up dumpsters.
But hopefully you don't have that view anymore upstairs.
That's right. The fall break, obviously, you know about Monday, October 21st is a district PD day. We've got a guest speaker at New Beginnings Church in the morning. So again, if you'd like to come see him, he's very entertaining. Joe Sanfilippo, coming from Wisconsin, very dynamic speaker that I think our staff will really enjoy. And then Cheryl and her team have put together some great PD for that afternoon. The one-act play, Queens, they've got various competitions. Those are all out of Bixby, but we are doing a performance for the community on October 24th that you're invited to come to. Veterans Day assemblies, those are scattered between the 8th and 11th. So again, if you've got some free time, let me know and I can let you know what those schedules are if you want to attend one of those. They're always well done, no matter what site you go to. Admin building ribbon cutting will be November 14th at 5 p.m. So we scheduled that intentionally right before the regular board meeting. It won't be a huge deal. We'll have some city folks, city representatives, Jared Cottle, some of those, and the main architects and construction managers. But that will happen on the 14th. We'll do some quick tours for anyone who wants to take a walk through the new admin building a day. We'll have a regular meeting at 6 o'clock. Then a week later is the ribbon cutting for the Home of the Spartans expansion. So as I said a few weeks ago or a few months ago, we're going to do a lot of ribbon cutting this semester. That'll be November 21st at 5 p.m. prior to the team dinner that night. And then we have tentatively scheduled, and again, if we need to adjust this, just let me know, but right now for Friday, December 6th, our annual curriculum showcase. Included in that will be a ribbon cutting, another one at East Intermediate Gym, and a walk through the high school academic building, which will be complete at that point. And we've already started moving furniture and things like that in now. Opening day for the high school is January 13th. That'll be the first day with students and staff in that building. And then we're planning another ribbon cutting for January 16th. So put that on your calendars as well. That'll be 6 p.m. on the 16th. We're going to do that one will be a pretty special ribbon cutting. We are actually inviting members, since it'll be the class of 2025, first graduating class out of there. We're going to invite all of the milestone graduating class representatives. So from 2015, 2005, 2000, 95, 85, 75, 65. And I think we've got at least one person from 55. Who's 70th. So that'll be, we'll have them part of that along with the band and a lot of students involved in that ribbon cutting. So that'll be a big deal. Those are all the announcements that I have for you today. I know we've got a lot to report, both from Cheryl's perspective, and Dave's been rather busy to give an update. And then Mike is actually going to report after our auditor reports here just a little bit. So, any questions?
All right, moving to 2.2, teaching and learning report, Cheryl Wilkinson.
Cheryl, he's got the clicker if you want to grab it on your way to do.
Cheryl. Are you?
Always has a great game.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You told me, and I.
That's okay.
Good evening. So you know one of my favorite things to do, and I'm already working on your showcase tour in December to pick the space that I think that you'll really enjoy getting to go participate in. But I love bringing a little vision of what's happening in our classrooms to you on these updates. And so this first one is an addition we've made to our teaching and learning team. We added a ed tech specialist to Cody's little team. So our ed tech specialists really serve as instructional coaches where they walk alongside our teachers in the district, and it's not about fixing technology, it's about utilizing technology and how to implement it into instructional technique and strategy. And so Cody's team was 3 serving the district, and we added a 4th this year. And so her name is Carly Hosier, and she's joined our elementary instructional coaches. And I'm telling you, the 3 of them together are just this dynamic trio serving our 4 elementary sites. It's so fun to see. One of my favorite things that they've done, they have a Google Classroom that they share together. If you're familiar with that, it's a learning management system through Google where teachers can push out information to students and families, but it's also someplace where we can push out information to teachers, and so they have resources. So they're using their Google Classroom. They started with, you'll see, these are all video stills. So that's a video still of meet your new elementary teaching and learning team. That's Megan, Kayla, and Carly our 2 instructional coaches and our ed tech specialist. And they made this video and pushed it out through Google Classroom and just said, introducing your team. We're here to serve and help you. And hey, Carly said, and guess what? If you want to make videos like this, I can come help you make them. And then they've been releasing a video a week showcasing a different teacher and a different instructional strategy and pushing that out the same way since then. So these are our first 3. Jacqueline Snow is a 2nd grade teacher at East, Kara Sloat's a kindergarten teacher at West, and Elena Lane is a second grade teacher at Central. And each one was showcasing something different. One was writing, one was a kindergarten calendar activity, and one was how to use your iPad with our new math curriculum. But
Sorry.
are we good? No, it's okay.
They just rounded the corner, so
Okay.
we probably have a couple minutes.
Okay, I'll finish this. So each one is getting to showcase something different. I think it's a great way to give teachers more ideas of things they can use in their classrooms from their peers. And the reaction to it is teachers are saying, oh my gosh, thank you for sharing. I can't wait to try this in my own classroom. It's brought all the good feels and the joy. It's been really, really fun to watch this team of 3 really showcase and highlight what's happening in classrooms for other teachers. So that's been a fun add-on. Should I stop or go to my next slide?
Well, you know how slow a parade moves. They're coming down to us now, so probably better safe not to miss any if you want to head out and find a
Yes,
spot.
agreed. Probably have to get everybody
Is
out
this an
first,
okay
so.
spot to pause?
Madam President, you
Okay,
can just
so-
entertain a motion to.
Pause or adjourn. Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to pause or adjourn to go watch the parade. Okay, Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Julie? Aye. The chair votes aye. Make a motion to resume back to session.
Second.
Okay, Justin?
Here.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Julie? And chair votes aye. All right, so let's go back to 2.2, teaching and learning with Cheryl Wilkinson.
Thank you. So my second item for tonight was another feel-good from last week. And it kind of starts with a personal history in that my husband and I have had an opportunity to be involved with a school and an orphanage in Uganda. And they reached out to me and asked if I had any recommendations for materials that they could use in their school for their early childhood literacy. So I had recommended Heggerty, which is what we use for our phonological awareness. It doesn't require a lot of materials or technology. It's all oral, it's lots of listening and repeating and rhymes and chunking words. And anyway, so I told him about it. Well, a delegation from Uganda came last week and they asked could they come and see Heggerty in a classroom. And so I had this opportunity to take them to a few of our classrooms last week. And 2 things happened. Number 1, I got to see our schools through their eyes, and I was so proud. I mean, just bursting with pride for both how beautiful the facilities are, honestly, but just our teachers and our students and how beautifully our classrooms were run, and just seeing the awe and wonder on their faces at all the things. But my favorite part was one of the directors, Alan, who's in this picture, said, you know, I keep thinking, what can we do unless we have $1 million? And he said, but I've learned maybe we can just teach our kids to love to learn to read. And I said, yes, we can do that. I can help you do this. And it was just such a beautiful moment, and it just kind of brought us back to what are we doing here? What is this all about? And so this picture is of Jennifer Jones with her class, and I've never seen a class so excited to count syllables and words in my entire life. It was so cute, but you can tell she is so in it, and she was all in. It was just really, really beautiful. It's just so much so that I want you to go see her in December for sure when we do our tour. So, and finally, my last slide and page. I just wanted to give you a quick update on some things that we've been doing across the district to equip our teachers to better serve our students with dyslexia. It's been a state statute for a while that we provide PD for all teachers on dyslexia, which we do as a part of our required PD each year. However, and our MTSS process, which I know Stephanie Beasley has come and talked to you about, that's the pyramid that shows all the interventions that we do. We screen students if they're having any sort of difficulties. We offer high quality interventions. Our students with dyslexia would fall into that process of screening and intervention. However, as far as our teachers feeling well equipped to both know, is this dyslexia, and what should I do that best suits the needs of these students, I don't think is really, really strong. So it's an area we've really put some focus and attention, and we've had the opportunity through our Title I funding to offer this, training on serving students with dyslexia at our Title I sites. We started last year, we're continuing this year. But the beautiful thing is, our consultant that we've been able to hire, Nancy Hannigan, is working with our instructional coaching team, our Title I specialists, so that hopefully we will continue to grow and spread across the district with this information. I put some quick facts here about dyslexia from the Oklahoma Handbook, and the prevalence line is maybe one that will stand out, that this affects 1 in 5 students, and so it's something, like I said, I believe that we've been intervening appropriately for students, but being able to identify and tell parents this is what this is, and it's not about letter reversals, that's a very typical part of learning, developing literacy. It's more of this neurological processing, and so these are some resources that we've been, that Nancy has been using with our teachers. And I just wanted to update you because we're renewing her contract tonight, so it'll be on the agenda later. But I think it's just, we're gonna continue to meet with her monthly to see how can we better serve our students with dyslexia.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Good job as always.
All right, moving to 2.3, facilities and operations report. Gabe might have a few things to talk about.
Okay, I've only got a few pictures. I didn't get too carried away this time with it. This is one I've been waiting to show so we could actually get the job done. This is the baseball softball complex before picture, and then finally got it kind of cleaned up and painted. It's looking a lot better. So kind of our process right now, going through and trying to update the buildings one by one and kind of bring the campus up to a little bit higher level than where it's been. East Intermediate Gym, the HVAC systems are sitting there and they're being installed right now. Painting is starting at the top. It's going to work its way down inside of it. There's some of the wall protection that's going in and some of the storage rooms. So, and then all the EFS is completed around that section. They're now doing the metal trim around the top, and they'll be leveling off the dirt and kind of doing the groundwork and working their way down in the building. Of course, the flooring will be one of the last things they do, but project's moving along really nicely. So, this is some pictures of the high school, some of the tile work. I didn't get too carried away because it's just kind of a little step beyond some of the pictures you saw last time, but there's one of the areas with a lot of the carpet installed around the teachers' offices. You can see some of the sound baffles that are up in the hallway, help to reduce the sound. So it's starting to really look like a finished building up on the other floors. There's one of the classrooms. This is the large classroom that can be split with a partition wall. You can see the backboard surfaces above the writing areas on that. So a lot of the rooms look like that right now. Their flooring's in, paint's done, the writable surfaces are in, so they're looking pretty good. There's the meeting room that we'll get to here in a few months. Some of the signage that we've purchased is starting to go up. This is on Central Intermediate, so we've kind of taken from the Spartan head that was used on the track, and we're using it in some other places. So we have one that's going on at North Elementary. It's going to have a backboard on it because of some of the damage and things that were done previously to cover it up, so it won't look quite as clean as this. But we've got some of those going up in different areas. Ideal Impact, the company that is doing the energy management program, has been going through our buildings. They've got quite a few of them, at least up or partially up. But I just want to show you a sample of what we see when we pull it up on our computer. We pull up the building, hit the classrooms, and it gives us this readout. And we can scroll through every classroom and quickly see what the temperatures are. We see where they're setting. We can see if it's calling for heat, calling for cooling. Some of them will get some humidity readings off of it, but it's real easy to operate and look through and know at a glance if we've got an issue. going on. And then you click on one of those classrooms and it brings this up. It shows where your heat points are, cooling. This is in setback right now, so the numbers are really far apart, but it kind of gives us a quick view of what's going on at the controller as well. So it's nice
So
to
you
have.
can control every classroom in the
We can
district?
control every classroom. When it's finished, we'll be able to control every classroom. Yeah, so it's, we're pretty excited about getting that all online. And then we have our new activity buses now, so we were pretty excited to get those. They came in, they turned out pretty good. There's front, back looks very similar to the front, but then we have the graphic work there. So, and that's all of my pictures.
Coach Montgomery brought it on its maiden voyage.
He did, yeah, took it 2 more, yeah, so. Unfortunately, we only had 1 at the time, but I guess he deserved to get
He
the
can
ride.
take the other
As
one.
long as he stays away from BMWs, we're okay.
There's a story.
So, other things are going on. I hate to admit it, but it may not be in my building before Rob gets in the admin, so. Yeah,
Yes, you will.
run into a few.
You'll make
Few hiccups.
take a chair over there and sit.
I have threatened to do that. We did get our phones over there in anticipation that we would be getting to move in, but we've had another hang up on what I now call the pit of despair over there, which is our lift station. Had another issue with the installation. Once we got the rest of the parts in, the type of pit was a problem, so they're having to make some modifications to be able to install it. They're still telling me Monday, this is the last thing on the building. If we can get this done, we can call for final inspections and get the C of O and actually start moving in. We have been working. We have a few items. We got permission to put a few items in there, things that we could no longer store, had room to. Some pieces of furniture we've surplus, you'll see later, in some of our other furniture over here in anticipation of getting out. And so phone lines are in over there. They're setting up our new computers. So we're just trying to do everything we can to be ready when we actually get occupancy to step in and be able to get to work quickly. But we're setting up the connexes in the yard and trying to get things like that done. But
It's gonna be a huge improvement, for sure.
it's gonna be a
about-
fantastic building.
About 4 or 5 times the
What do
space
we
you
get?
have now,
I would say
considerably more.
considerably more, yeah, probably a couple of times more, yeah. Our compared to the warehouse we have, just in one section of it, it's 2 times the size of that. And that's not counting the main floor, so we have a lot of room. All of our trades will be in one spot now instead of scattered out throughout the district, so we'll have everybody there and be able to communicate and work a little better.
People will have places to park downtown.
Yeah, they will. Downtown will be glad to see us go. And we're okay with that, because we're ready to go too. But,
Any updates on buses, all the one, we're getting the second one, right?
we've got, both of them are here now.
Okay,
We've
both
got
are
both
here, and
activity
then
buses. We have a mini bus that we ordered that's gonna be here in November.
Okay,
Yes, November.
okay.
And then we have an item later on order.
Yes, and then we're looking at some route buses.
All right, any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Gabe. And we're moving, 2.4
Yep.
till later, okay. So now we're moving to number 3, comments from the public. 4, okay. The order, okay, so we're going in the order that, Sherry got these, so first will be Janice Danforth. Have you read all of the instructions on, as being a public speaker? Okay, great, you'll have 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's right here.
Can you see it? No.
I was just letting you get situated and then,
Now
it should blow up, hopefully, let's see. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, and go.
Hi, my name is Janice Danforth, and I'm here to discuss the decision made to allow Principal Replogle to resign. Being publicly intoxicated at a school function is not only unethical, inappropriate, and immoral, it's reason enough to fire him. Instead, he was able to resign. We also have students who've come forward claiming inappropriate touching, and I met with one of those families today before I came here. To say they're disappointed in this decision is an understatement. We continue to see, as Moms for Liberty, we continue to see inappropriate behaviors coming forward that in the past and even current, where staff and teachers that have done things inappropriately are allowed to resign. This has to stop. These children deserve to be protected, and when these teachers and principals, administrators are allowed to resign rather than being fired, we allow them to continue moving on to another district. We see this time and time again. This situation, I know Miller and I spoke today, so I know that there was reporting done to the OSDE, which is fantastic, and we want to continue to see that. However, we know that's not always the case and often is not the case. And I feel very strongly, and I expressed this to Miller today, I strongly disagree with him being allowed to resign. This man could be a predator. He showed signs of predatory behavior. And with that, you are responsible as adults sitting on this board to protect any future children that he could be in contact with. So if it's not anything severe enough right now, well, it could be in the future. And then that falls back on you guys. And that's the case for wherever he may go. If he had predatory behavior at the other districts he was part of, that falls on them as well. And what we want to see is transparency, absolutely. And you put out a press release stating that transparency. There was some wording that made it sound like he was fired. People were saying he was fired, but that is not what happened. And so that conversation for the families of this community, I feel is necessary, that they need to know why he was allowed to resign. And also just so that they know that they are safe moving forward. This family today, one of the mom told me that there are some students who are actually leaving Bixby because of what happened. They're now nervous about what could happen to their child in another situation like that. Obviously not with him, since he's not here anymore, and I'm thankful he's not. But I just want to express that this idea, this notion of allowing someone who has done something terrible to resign is just unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Christina Williams. Christina, have you read for the public speaking?
ma'am.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And you'll have 3 minutes and Justin is our timer.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Got everything set?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, and go.
My name is Christina Williams. I'm here to speak about our confidence in the school board and the school administration. Obviously, we heard Tulsa police had arrested the high school principal and arrested him for public intox. The next day, we did receive a message from Superintendent Rob Miller, and it did actually state that he would no longer be employed by Bixby Schools, and it was signed sincerely Rob Miller. On the school board minutes went out and it said that he was going to be, or I guess his severance package and resignation was gonna be on the agenda tonight. And I say severance package because if his effective date is 11/1, that means that he will be paid until then. So that to me looks like a severance package. So separating from the district and receiving pay, I feel like that is the wrong message to send. My husband is a Tulsa police officer, so I have a lot of confidence in what they do. So if a Tulsa police officer or the Tulsa Police Department arrested somebody the night of a dance for public intox, I feel like there's reason for concern there. So the fact that we would allow resignation instead of suspension without pay or some other, relative agreement, I feel like allowing a resignation and pay until 11/1, I feel like is not giving the confidence to the parents. And also I think it's showing the wrong message, is that if Tulsa Police Department says that someone has done something, arrested them, I think that we need to wait till the investigation is over. And I would hope that as the administration, that you would think about that too, because as parents, a lot of parents aren't here tonight because they were at the parade, or they actually received the message and thought, this person is no longer employed by the school. So they have confidence that something was already done. And then this is a little bit messaging whenever this comes out and they are still an employee of the school. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Joe.
The next two about special ed. Okay, if it's okay, Madam President, I just want to add a couple comments to what's been said here, just for clarification purposes. And I did post something on Facebook earlier, if you haven't had a chance to look at that. It is on social media, just in response to this concern about allowing somebody to resign in lieu of termination. Relative to the discussion as to suspension with or without pay, that's statutory. For certified personnel, you can only put on administrative leave with pay. We don't have any flexibility with that. So that's what happened on the evening that this incident took place. The principal was suspended pending an investigation, and within 24 hours, we had received a request to resign. Now, the due process, again, is affected by statute. And again, I posted that, and I would encourage anyone to take a look at what the due process rights for any administrator or teacher are. It is very specific, and we would have followed that if we had gotten to that point. But his last official day here was October 1st. The November 1st accounts for all of his accrued vacation days and personal leave dates, which we must pay, again, by statute. So there was no severance package. He's getting not $1 more than what he was lawfully allowed to receive as part of his contract. Relative to the communication about this, we were very clear in both messages about the actions that took place, what had been alleged, and reported as transparently and clearly as I think we can. We are mandatory reporters. I'd seen that somewhere. Not only did we report this to Tulsa Police Department, we reported it to DHS, we reported to the Oklahoma State Department of Education, and we are actively cooperating with all of those agencies in their separate investigations. So there's not any additional steps. We have taken immediate action, decisive action, to terminate this person's employment with Bixby Schools. And he has not been back at school since that night, and he will not be back to Bixby Schools. And relative, again, to what happens from here, each of those other agencies has their own process for determining whether or not there are charges or official actions taken relative to his certification, and that is outside of the scope of our Board of Education or me. So we have taken the actions that we lawfully can do as a school board and administration, and I'm comfortable with the steps that we've taken to protect our students.
It says on 3.8 you're not allowed to respond.
The board is not responding now.
I know it says for administrative staff, which would be you.
I'm allowed to respond.
Aren't you administrative staff?
Not gonna argue with him, Ms. Danforth.
Okay.
I'm allowed to provide clarification to things
Well,
that have
then,
been said.
but it's not right, because then we're not allowed to ask questions back.
Yes, you
You're
are.
trying to get
You're
the.
Okay, as a board member, I'd like to step in. This back and forth is not gonna be conducive to a good meeting, so if we can just get back on track to the minutes on the agenda and continue, please.
All right, our next, public comment is from Joe, and I apologize, what's the last name? Huff, I didn't wanna say it wrong. Okay.
I thought about writing it out.
Huff.
Phonetic spelling.
Okay, thank you, and have you read the instructions on public speaking, on
Yes.
The requirements? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
perfect.
All
You've
right,
got
3 minutes on me, you ready?
I don't know if I trust him, but.
3,
We'll see how it goes.
2, I can message 3, 2, 1, and go.
Good evening, my name is Joe Huff, and I'm the father of a Bixby student who receives special education services. The life of a parent who has a child that receives special education services is filled with legal jargon and acronyms. IDEA, IEP, OAP, LRE, FERPA, FAPE, just to list a few. It can be a little overwhelming. One acronym that has frustrated us as parents is the IEP. That's an individual education plan. This is a legally binding document that outlines how my child will be educated. One part of our son's IEP that we've always taken issue with is the amount of time that he gets in the general education classroom. It is currently less than 40%. The ongoing struggle to get that number up is why we signed on to a state complaint along with 8 other families. We told the state that we did not think Bixby was doing a good job of determining the educational placement of our children. The Oklahoma State Department of Education Office of Special Education Services found Bixby to be out of compliance with IDEA regulations. We want our son to be educated along with his typically developing peers, because the research tells us that general education classroom is the best place for him to learn and to grow and develop. In 2018, the National Council on Disability published a report entitled "The Segregation of Students with Disabilities." This is meta-analysis that describes the legal and scientific basis for an inclusive versus segregated education. Remember, my son spends over 60% of his school day in a segregated classroom. Let me read you a few short excerpts from this study. Data shows us that when students with disabilities are included, they have more access to the general curriculum and effective instruction. They achieve at higher rates of academic performance, and they acquire better social and behavioral outcomes. And at the same time, when kids like my son are educated with their typical peers, the peers without disabilities experience either a positive academic and social impact, or at least no negative impact on academic achievement. That sounds like all upside to me. We would love to have a meaningful conversation with the district about how to let the research guide their policies, but we don't have a voice. Some states mandate that districts have special education parent advisory councils, or CPAC if you want to go back to the acronyms. The purpose of these groups is to give parents a voice in their local school district regarding system level policies. Oklahoma does not currently have this mandate, and Bixby does not have a CPAC. The state did not mandate that Bixby pay Coach Montgomery $148,000 for the 2022-23 school year, but they did it because they value him. The state did not mandate that Bixby install the nation's largest outdoor video board in a high school venue for $600,000, but they did it because they value it.
I'm sorry, sir, that is time.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
It was 3 minutes when I read it.
Did he short you your time?
I'm on watching the clock.
Yeah, you gotta keep an eye on
You
it.
got it. Luke Haley? And Luke, you know the instructions for the public comment?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. I
All
was trying
right.
to steal a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I want to make sure you're set. 3, 2, 1, and go.
My name is Luke Haley. As you're aware, 9 families filed a state complaint regarding the education of children with special needs. I would like to explain why we filed the complaint and offer my recommendation based on this experience. My son Layton is 9 years old and has Down syndrome. 4 years ago, when we transitioned from Tulsa's Little Lighthouse to Bixby Public Schools, our hopeful goal, was that Layton would be provided the best educational experience possible. 50 years of research on children with Down syndrome shows that academic time spent with typical developing peers is linked to numerous intellectual and social benefits. This is why, at every IEP meeting, we asked, sometimes begged, the IEP team members to provide Layton with more academic inclusion alongside his typical developing peers. Every time the IEP team said no. Year after year, semester after semester, we were told no. 4 years, Layton has been segregated from his typical developing peers for 80% of his day. Layton is not learning to be with his peers, Layton is learning to be segregated. At our last parent-teacher conference, a prominent, my wife told me not to mention her name, of our team member interrupted our parent-teacher conference and told us that Layton was receiving his least restrictive environment, and that if we had an issue with his placement, we should take our complaint to the state. We followed her advice, and we did. The state directed that the school meet with us again to reconsider Layton's least restrictive environment. Entering this meeting, my expectation, my hope, was that the school would approach this meeting with open minds, professional expertise, working with us collaboratively to design an inclusive education plan for Layton. Unfortunately, this was not our experience. Instead, the school's response was to take our most recent IEP and fill it with as many behavioral complaints as they could find. These complaints included trivial items such as Leighton pulling his shirt over his knees, his propensity to run, and accidentally getting urine on himself when using the restroom. How would you like, as a parent, react if your child's every action was scrutinized and used against them to prove that they do not belong? The individual who leads Bixby Public Education, Kim Shine, seems more invested in defending an outdated system of segregation than in creating an education program aligned with modern professional standards and best practices. The experts are clear. An inclusive educational setting maximizes academic efficiency and behavioral development for students with special needs. Right now, you are training children with special needs to be segregated. You are teaching them they must earn their way to be placed amongst their peers. We need leadership that practices the highest level of profession, leadership who understands best practices, advocates for students rather than the system, and understands how to effectively navigate continuing placement in a least restrictive environment. We need a leader who instilled wisdom in the IP team. Jesus said, whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me. Friends, the least of these is standing before you. I am asking you to do for them. Find new leadership for special education. Bixby parents and children with special needs are starving for someone with true vision and true expertise, and that is not Kim Shine. Thank you.
All right.
That's it?
We're gonna move to, number 4, general consent agenda. I make a motion that the board, approves consent agenda items 1 through 16.
Second.
Okay,
We'll give the board a minute to look at the attachments associated with that. There aren't any unique items. 4.4 is a recurring contract that we have with Tulsa Tech Career Academy for their aviation program, and I'm not aware that we have any students participating in that program, but it's just a standing agreement. And if we do, there's a reimbursement that we pay them. Right now, we don't have any students with that. Happy to answer any questions.
any questions? No. Call for a vote. Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Moving to number 5, finance, 5.1, presentation of the 2023-2024 audit by Jenkins and Kemper, CPAs. This is information only. No action is required by the Board of Education.
Good. Well, I'm Michael Kemper. I'm one of the partners of Jenkins and Kemper. And is it good now? All right. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm gonna start on page 4 and go over the audit opinion on the financials, and then we'll jump over to the findings page, and then if you all have any questions on anything, we'll kind of address that at that time. So page 4 is the independent auditor's report. They've kind of moved things around on this report such that the opinion paragraphs are put right at the top. Because the school district is reporting its financials on a regulatory basis of accounting, you receive an adverse opinion on your financials based on US GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles, because you're not reporting under that framework. So that's normal. As far as the regulatory basis of accounting, it does require fixed assets to be reported, but most of the school districts in Oklahoma don't do that, and you all don't either. So the opinion is qualified for that item. So in our opinion, except for the effects of the matter described previously, the financial statements referred to in the first paragraph present fairly in all the material respects the assets, liabilities, and fund balances arising from regulatory basis transactions of each fund type and account group of the district as of June 30th, 2024. So, I mean, that's the best opinion that you can receive as a regulatory based school district. So, we didn't have any issues as far as balancing the financials and all that was pretty, came about pretty easily. We'll jump over to the findings page. Page 42 is the summary of auditor's results. And this is gonna list out It kind of reiterates what's in the auditor's report, as well as identifying major federal programs that we chose to test this year. Each year, we're required to kind of rotate the larger programs and make sure they're all tested at least once every 3 years. The ESSER funds, of course, are deemed to be high risk by the feds, so they've been tested every year since inception. This year, we chose the child nutrition program because it was the second, I think it was the second largest program. So anyway, those two programs, what we chose to test, and on page 43, you'll see findings. On the second part there, related to the major federal award programs, there were no material findings or any issues that we saw with either the ESSER funds or the child nutrition program. We did have one finding related to internal controls, and that dealt with activity fund deposits. This is something we had last year too. We expanded our testing a little bit this year to see if it was as prevalent in different months. So last year I think we tested November, and we kind of had some issues with the Thanksgiving break, and so this year we also tested February, and it looked like in both months about half of the deposits that we tested would have receipts that were untimely deposited. So basically your staff at the sites are holding on to cash collections and a little bit too long and bringing it to the central office late, and then they're getting deposited at the central. Once they get here, then they're getting deposited the same day.
When
But
you're
it's
saying
the sites.
daily, are you saying like 24 hours or a week late or?
So if you have $100 or more on cash on hand, you have to deposit it within 24 hours. If it's less than that, you have a week. These ranged from 3 to 5 days. There was maybe one or two that were a week or two, but most of them were 3 to 5 days. So
Is that say you have a fundraiser where kids are bringing in $5 or whatever it is. So they're under that amount, so they're holding on to it. But as soon as they hit over that amount of cash, they have 24 hours to get that up here to get deposited.
mm-hmm.
Or do they hold a ledger that shows, like, this week was under that amount, and then today we collected over 100, did you say $150?
It's $100.
$100?
Mhm.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, what we try, whenever we test it, what we try to do is look for, if there's a series of receipts in a deposit, we'll look for the receipt when the collections go over that $100, and then that's where we say, okay, now it has to be in within a day, basically. And so anything before that can be within a week, but if it's 2 weeks until it hits $100, well, then you're a week late, because you should be going to the bank at least once a week. So, and that's a statutory requirement.
And that seems, in the study, it seems to be more problematic around holidays?
Well, we had issues. Yeah, I mean, Thanksgiving break, it seems like if somebody's doing a fundraiser and they don't bring the cash in to the central office before everybody goes on break, then it's a whole, week or 10 days before everybody kind of gets back in the mode of turning that stuff in. So we knew there'd be kind of an issue there, and I think we had issues with that in December in previous years. So we try to either stay away from those months or try to test other months as well so that we get a better idea. But February, like I said, was about the same.
So how many schools on average do you think you guys do these financial reports for, the investigative reports, you think?
We audit about a little more than 70 schools.
So, I know some of this is kind of hard to understand because it uses a lot of legal jargon. I understand the need for that. But just dumb it down for me. Does Bixby Public Schools have anything in their financial other than the minor fraction that we're talking about that throws concerns about our financials?
No, we didn't observe anything that was of any major concern. This is something that's an internal control issue that I mean, it's a statutory requirement that you do this depositing procedure, but, it's also an internal control issue, because if people are holding on to money, it's more chance that it gets lost or stolen, and that's kind of the main concern with that, so.
Can I ask, does that include PTOs in that, or is it just BPS staff?
No, this is just going through the activity fund, so if it's outside groups, we don't do that.
Does that include booster clubs though? So booster clubs
Only
are
if-
outside groups?
Yeah.
Only if they're included in
If
the
they have an
activity
activity
fund.
account.
So
If they have an activity account, then they've gotta follow the
Yeah.
time.
Mhm.
Okay.
And we are talking activity fund. We're not talking general fund. We're not
No.
talking
Yeah.
building
Right.
fund. We're not talking the taxpayer.
Yeah.
Not
and-
that I'm minimizing that, but be clear on that.
And we didn't have an issue with completeness or anything. We were, everything, all deposits were able to be traced back to original receipts. We didn't have any missing ones or anything. It's
They're
just
just a
the
little late.
timeliness. Yeah.
And in many cases, this is an internal control issue, and Mike and I already visited with Michael. We are gonna do some additional steps this year to try and address this. It's two parts. One is training, making sure everyone who is responsible for turning in money is aware of what those guidelines are, and is turning money in. And then the second piece is more of an accountability measure. So I think we will be creating a form that documents anytime somebody turns in a deposit outside of that window of time, that they'll have to complete, so that we now have an audit trail of who might be turning in money traditionally late. And so then we can address that through other conversations.
See, I mean, it just seems like we, here in the last 2 years, especially this last year, we've added a lot of activity funds in
There are a lot.
from groups. How do we admit, so when school board, the vote, comes the board, we vote to bring them into an activity fund. Do we have any set up training for the new people that are not used to these time constraints to get their deposits in?
Mike, I'll let you answer that one.
Well, we've done training in the past. We kinda usually do it every other year it mostly involves booster clubs. Now, Michael, I can't attest for what you tested for. Was it more of the sites bringing stuff in more than booster clubs here?
I would have to look and see based on the receipt numbers. I mean, we just test every deposit in the month, so it could be.
Field trip monies.
It could be any.
Booster money.
Yeah, it could be anything. Yeah.
So it's really happening at the sites. Usually the booster clubs with parents involved are bringing them in at their appropriate times whenever they're doing something. So we looked at it last year. I think the thing to get to this is receipting electronically, so that we have a system that knows, okay, somebody got these receipts today, that person can check and say, did you deposit it with the secretary at the office, so that they can bring them over here and we can deposit them at the bank. That's where we've gotta get to. We looked at the system last year. We didn't want to make a wholesale change because it would require us to kind of get rid of My School Bucks, and we've been using that for a while, and so we may have to look at that alternative unless My School Bucks can provide us with that assistance, that level of technology. Then I don't know how we're gonna defeat that, because if you got a teacher or somebody, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, if they're taking money or something and they put it in their desk, they just may forget about it. And that's some of what you're seeing, not all of it, that's some of it. And it's not intentional, it's not to be, out of line, it's just, they're doing other things, and
they're still receiving for that
Yeah.
money, so it's not like money is not being turned in, it's just not being turned in a timely
Right.
manner.
so we're just gonna, Mr. Miller and I have talked about it, we're gonna talk some more about what our options are for trying to get us to that point where, when somebody receipts something, other people know it, so that they know they can get, that money's supposed to come in. That's where we gotta go to.
All right. And that, well, since I kind of went over next page is the prior year findings and same thing, so, that concludes it. Does anybody have any questions other than what we've already discussed?
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all. Have a good evening.
Okay, so we're going back up to 2.4 financial operations report on campus. First page.
Okay, can you see that up there? Well, you got copies of it as well. This is just the summary of the year. I thought it would be appropriate to follow the audit, just so you know where our expenses go for general and building fund and where we spend our money. Obviously, for general fund, we always know that this bottom line is salary and personnel services. That includes, you know, the benefits that we provide and the retirement that we pay, both we're required to and that we pay for our employees. So salaries themselves, to read this column, the far right column is the percent of total expenses within the general fund. The one to the left is just the percent within that category of, in this case, like salaries. Certified salaries is 70% of all salaries, 46% of total expenses in the general fund. And as you see down below, I tried to break out some of our biggest vendors within each subset. Professional educational services, obviously the big one being substitutes, ESS right there. And you can see some of the smaller ones. There's City of Bixby, $221,000. That's the SRO contracts that we have. Let's see. The other within general fund is obviously insurance. You see that every year, so you'll see that'll be over $1 million this year. So, and those 2 activity buses you just saw, that I'll get a bill on that here shortly. So. Then our communication services, BTC being in there, and some of the other systems that we use to communicate with patrons. Supplies, breakdown there, nothing major within those. Our gasoline and diesel bills within the energy section, that's all transportation stuff right there. And then you can see right here, our books and periodicals section. That's a, you add those 3 together, that's a pretty large expense within, but only, as a whole, it's only 1.5% of the total expenses within general fund. So that's a breakdown of the general fund. I summarized it right here at the bottom so you can see each one individually. And then we graphed it.
Right here.
Okay. Here's by number, just the pie chart. There's your salaries and benefits within that segment. Purchase property services in there, and then there's the percentages broken out. So going back to building fund, where a lot of our operational expenses are put in. Water and sewer services, we had $4.1 million in expenses. Water and sewer services are 4% of that, broken out between the cities, 3 cities that were segmented in. 39%, almost 40% of cleaning services. You can see statewide cleaning is the biggest component of that, to try to keep the campus clean for our students and teachers. And then other systems that we use to keep the buildings operational. Environmental loop services, those are the people who do work on our geothermals. The lighthouse handles most of our access control and other things in regard to fire alarm systems as well. Speaking of which, I'll bring this up, you'll see this here shortly. Our CI system, Central Intermediate Fire System, Alarm System, is out of date completely, the entire building. So you're going to see, I've talked to Stephen Scott this week about the cost. You're gonna see a very large cost to replace that entire building, not just component, the entire building. So
Is that
probably look,
what's it in there now, original? I mean, how long has that been there?
probably forever.
Okay.
Other than what, you know, when we added on, the new parts that we added on, but the older parts, so, you're looking at over $100,000 for that, so. Electricity, now, we hope to see this one change, with the system that we put in, so remember this number next year, we'll look at it. Of course, we're gonna put this big, huge high school on, so, new building, so I don't know, we'll see how that works out, but, and then here's a breakdown of all of them, by segment and percentage wise. So hopefully you can see who our big vendors are, in there. A lot of the other categories you see will probably be just suppliers, that, you know, providing, you know, nominal things for departments within the schools. So, anyway, that's our summary for this year. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. If you wanna call me later, you're welcome to do that as well. And I wanna emphasize again, Mr. Miller and I have, when we heard that, we kinda knew that was coming again, and, cause I talked to Michael as he's doing the audit. And, so we're hoping we can find a better solution to minimize this more. I hate that y'all have to hear that, but if we're gonna misstep on something, I guess that would probably be one of the simpler ones, because it's not involving, embezzlement or anything like that, involving our taxpayer money.
And I think, again, part of that is incorporating more of a paper trail so that we're at least documenting when this is happening with individual employees. And if there's a pattern and the training is not getting that, then removing those privileges from that person to access money. So there's some internal controls we can add. Hopefully, we won't have this on next year's audit.
I always thought they would be scared to deal with Melinda, but that must have worn off, so. I say that in jest.
All right.
Because you've dealt with Melinda, that's why.
She's by the book.
She is.
Any questions? No. Okay, so.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. 5.2, discussion of possible board action to approve the purchase of 3 Bluebird type C route buses from Ross Transportation at the cost of $129,942 per bus for a total cost of $389,826.
Make a motion, we approve 5.2.
Second.
And I believe these are from this year's bond issue, correct? The 2024 money that we had set aside, or is it?
Yeah, I'm always, yeah.
We had 500,000 set aside for route buses on this year's, or was that, trying to remember, if it was that one or the 22? It's from bond dollars.
It's bond.
In the 22. So it's not from general fund. And the full invoices down below, and what I noticed looking at this is they have a 180-day expectation once the PO is signed and turned in. So that's 6 months from now, so we should have them in advance of the next school year.
And then we just get bus drivers.
Then we have to make human beings to drive.
Yeah,
they
they
come
need
with
to-
those extras.
Yeah, I wish they came with them.
Yeah.
In the seat already.
All right, any questions? Okay, let's vote. Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All right, moving down to 6, teaching and learning. 6.1, discussion and possible board action to approve the district application for the Oklahoma Teacher Empowerment Program project.
All right, I've provided the board a small packet of information that comes from the State Department of Education. This was a program that was passed, legislated by Senator Pugh 2 years ago. The State Department issued guidance on that last year, and then there's some updated guidance that is the back part of this. So initially, there was a lot of questions about how this program would work, and the intent behind the legislative intent was to give districts the ability to recognize our high-performing teachers, whether they're our lead teachers, advanced teachers, or master teachers, and provide them with additional salary. That comes with certain observable qualities or characteristics that we have to have, as well as additional days expected on their contract. So there was not any clarification last year as to whether or not this was one-time money, just for the year that we award it, or whether it became a permanent part of that teacher's salary. The Oklahoma Constitution says that you can't pay a teacher less than what you paid them the previous year, unless their duties have changed. So there was a concern about, so we recognized this teacher here as an advanced teacher, and then maybe the next year or 2 years down the road, they fall off and they're not at that level anymore, and we would still be responsible. That has gotten clarification. I think Senator Pugh went to the State Department, and that's why you see this updated guidance, which is listed on this page. On the third page of this, which is this page right here, the half page. It says that the question is, can the designation of related salary increase be taken from a teacher once it is granted by the district? And it says yes. So this is the clarification we were seeking last year. It says school districts are not obligated to pay the increase in subsequent years if the designation is removed, because funds from the state would not be available. So they've now given us the ability to look at this as a one-year stipend, which is the way we're going to file our application with your approval. There are 3 categories of teachers right now that we would like to apply. Total amount of grant money would be $86,000. That's for 28 people, I believe. 12 of those are SPED team leads at each of our sites, for the extra responsibilities that those teachers have in mentoring other special education teachers at their building. And then we will also add 5 days to their contract to develop professional development and to mentor teachers, to work with Cheryl's team in creating that. So those 12 teachers will be on this list. Our 9 site teachers of the year last year will also be nominated for that $3,000 one-time stipend for being recognized by their peers as an elite teacher. So we're going to build that in there as well. There will be those extra days. So if a teacher says, I'd rather not have that stipend, I'm not going to work those 5 extra days, they will have that choice. We just won't pay them that extra money. The 6 instructional coaches that we have are currently on a contract that extends them 15 additional days. We'd like to add 5 days to that schedule to make it 20, so that they have more time at the beginning of the school year, again, to build resources and to mentor our young teachers and help them be successful in the classroom. So those are the 27 that will each get a $3,000 stipend, and then our 1 district teacher of the year will receive a $5,000 stipend, but has a requirement for 10 additional days as part of that award. So that's the application that we have put together. It has not yet been submitted to the State Board of Education. If you would like us to consider other options for that, we're open to considering that, or we're looking at those. And I think as we move forward with this program, if it stays, if the funding stays, then we will partner with our teachers and site administrators to try and see what other ways we can use this to incentivize high performance in our district. We know that we're having challenges with retaining special ed teachers. Some of the other districts around us have increased the stipend that they're paying their special educators, and we're probably going to need to do the same next year, but this provides a short-term fix for some of those needs that we have. And then again, we wanted this to be a teacher-driven program, so that the peers are selecting who they recognize as their site teachers of the year, and it's not just the administrator picking somebody that they want, because that can cause challenges with culture and climate. So happy to answer any questions you may have about that, but that's our plan, is to submit this application for $86,000. They currently have $44 million in this grant.
Do we know timing wise after you submit, how long?
The superintendents I've talked to said they normally get approval within days, because they are anxious to get the money out the door and do what it was designed to do. Any questions?
All right, yeah, I've got mine. Any questions? Okay, so let's take a vote. Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Aye. Julie? Chair votes aye.
Who did the motion and who did the motion?
I make a motion, we approve 6.2. Julie seconded, okay. And Julie, would you like us to vote again?
No, I got it.
Oh, sorry, that was 6.1. Now we're moving to 6.2. Did you get everything you need?
I got it.
Okay, perfect. All right. 6.2, discussion and possible board action to approve a memorandum of understanding with Dana Hardy, a certified academic language therapist for student language interventions to be paid for with federal Title I funds.
Make a motion, we approve 6.2.
Second.
So Dana is a certified academic language therapist, works individually with students on dyslexia and other reading needs. She has been working at one of our sites already, and we're gonna expand that a little bit. The program has, from what we've heard, quite a bit of success so far, and so we're gonna contract with her using Title I funds. I think the maximum contract is $4,680. I think down on the bottom it does stipulate that.
Yes, 4,000.
Right there, 4,680. So that's how the payment will work. So, and it gives the dates and times and where she'll work, serving those students. But as Cheryl alluded to, once we identify these students who need the additional support, we want to be able to intervene and provide what they need to work with that. So this is kind of a pilot a little bit, trying to see if this is effective and if we can work the schedule and support these students, and then see if we need to expand it in the future. Ms. Wilson, did you have anything else to add on?
No, Kendall actually worked on this particular contract with us, but we've been working with the specialized, you'll see in another item or two, on dyslexia, and this is just, it's research-based as our CALC training programs, and so that's kind of what we first came up on.
And then if we needed to add on more with that, would she be able to expand her hours?
Right
Her
now,
time?
that's her maximum amount of
Okay.
hours that she can serve Bixby students.
Okay.
She had committed to another district and had
Okay.
already, she had set that time aside.
Okay.
So we're gonna tap out the maximum
That
we
she's
can get from
available.
her.
Okay.
The difficulty with the Take Flight curriculum, as far as in the scheduling, is it's more individual based, and so it's one-on-one. So trying to just look at what data we can collect from that to see the implementation and we need to take long-term.
Okay.
It allows us to see, is it meeting the needs of students right now that have already been successful with it, continuing those services, but, for now, that will be the maximum we can get from her. That doesn't mean we can't look at additional
Yeah, we have another,
tutors.
we have another CALPS that we're talking to, who actually did her practicum hours with some of our kids at CE and WE over the last 2 years, and I'm hoping she can take some.
Okay, great. Any questions?
Do we, when is this for the year contract? How long is the contract?
For the year. Yes,
So I assume the other commitments are for a year as well?
Yes, sir.
So maybe we've got a chance next year?
Yes, sir.
It shows up there, Mr. Cheatham, in that paragraph, 2 days a week from 11:50 or 8:50 to 11:50 at Bixby East Intermediate, working with individual students. And again, we'll have some data to show the effectiveness of the program or the intervention, and
Decide what we
then
do.
make some decisions as to whether we expand it or try and find some additional therapists to work with our kids.
Any other questions? All right, let's take a vote. Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Aye. Julie? Aye. Chair votes aye. All right, 6.3, discussion and possible board action to approve a MOU with Oklahoma State University School Psychology Program for dissertation, intervention, and data collection and serving our students for the 2024-2025 school year at no cost.
This MOU is just giving permission to a doctoral candidate with OSU to collect data, no student names, of course, but just raw data as part of her dissertation, that program. So we have to sign this agreement. Her name is up there, I think Catherine Sinor. She'll be under the supervision of her doctoral advisor.
Yes, right there.
And we've had her advisor in before. Okay. On consultation and services, and actually, Dr. Duhan at LSU is part of this, and he helped us set up our entire MTSS, which is now BTSS program several years ago. He's outstanding, so we really take his students anytime we can get them.
How is it at no cost? Is it using health
Because-
insurance?
No, it's part, I couldn't answer that, but I don't think so. It's because it's part of her dissertation, so we're not paying.
Like a
tuition.
student teacher comes
Right,
in.
it's much like an intern, but for a school psychologist.
Gotcha.
And then have to be individual consent forms for anybody who participates in this. So she would have to arrange for those.
With the parent.
With the parents, if there were students involved.
Any other questions? I make a motion, we approve 6.3. Second. All right, call for a vote, Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Julie? Chair votes aye. All right, 6.4, discussion and possible board action to approve an agreement with the University of Oklahoma Health Sciences Center for the OU College of Nursing to place students at Bixby Public Schools. Make a motion, we approve 6.4. Second.
I know you see these all the time, these MOUs with the various universities for student interns or placement, and this is just one that we hadn't received yet. And I
What is
don't
it
know-
Nursing.
for on nursing side? Like what can they obtain?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Like what, is this where they can get their
They're getting hours towards their.
RN?
Toward their RN, yes,
Okay.
at OU, and so we just take, it's no different than student teaching, except it's nurse interns.
Does that help their, I mean, I would think it would, but does it help their odds to get into the nursing program since they're,
Well, they're already in the nursing program.
so this puts them in the
This
program?
they're in the program already, and just like a student teacher in the education program has to get hours, so do nursing candidates.
Oh,
In a real nursing situation.
I see.
Right.
Okay, sorry, I was
No,
looking.
no worries, we,
So-
we're not a big clear.
So anyone they place will be under the direct supervision of one of our nurses.
Yes. Perfect.
Any questions? Okay, call for a vote, Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie? Chair votes aye. 6.5, discussion and possible board action to approve an agreement with Learning Without Tears for virtual cursive third through fifth grade getting started workshops on October 21st, 2024 at a cost of $1,200 to be paid from SRA funds. I make a motion, we approve 6.5.
Second.
Last legislative session, there was a bill passed that required teaching of cursive in grades 3 through 5. And Cheryl has spent quite a bit of time working with our teachers, trying to find the best program that would support them in this effort. And we were able to use what used to be RSA funds, Reading Sufficiency is now Strong Reader Act funds, but it's the same pot of money, but it is state appropriated funds that we can use for supporting our teachers teaching cursive in grades 3 through 5. Cheryl, anything else I need to add?
No, this is really just a getting started with the new materials that we've selected, and so the materials just arrived today, so they'll have their new materials and they'll get their training just after fall break.
Is this just a new name? Learning Without Tears used to be Handwriting Without
It's the
Tears,
same
same thing?
thing.
Okay.
How long has cursive been out of style? So to speak?
I think most classrooms have been teaching
They've taught
cursive, it's part of our standards, it just hasn't been a priority or a focus, and we haven't had a uniform way of how we've taught cursive and the materials we've used to make sure that we have equitable access across the different sites.
Gotcha.
For me, it's been out of style for 50 years.
My program is called Learning with Tears.
Yeah, mine too, especially cursive.
That was the 80s though.
All right, any other questions? Okay, let's call for a vote. Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Julie? And chair votes aye. 6.6, discussion and possible board action to approve the renewal of an agreement for dyslexia training with Nancy Inc. LLC, Dyslexia Connect, to be paid from federal funds. I make a motion we approve 6.6.
Second.
Here, I double checked this because it looks like a typo, right? We mispronounced Nancy, but it is
electronic on the
NACLE.
dyslexia one.
It's NAC, what is it?
NAC.
I mean, her name is
Oh,
Nancy,
NAC.
but for whatever reason in her LLC, that's how she set it up. I think.
Because it's.
Maybe there was a Nancy LLC already. So, but it is Nancy,
It is Nancy.
but the program is NAC.
Oh,
It's-
okay, I
it's
get
just
it.
like it is there.
Okay, I get it now, okay, got it.
So you're not looking at a typo, that's exactly how it is.
Okay.
And this again is for the training, dyslexia training that Cheryl alluded to in her comments. And I think the total amount,
Right here.
10 hours at $100 an hour.
No, there's more.
Good more,
So
okay,
it's
further
not-
down, yeah.
I think it's at
Oh, there it is, that's her
$2.
rates right there.
We put not to exceed, she's going to do a full day and a half of training with all of our teachers and staff, over the course of the year, and then she does specialized training at our Title I sites.
This goes hand in hand with the program, right, that identifies possible traits of.
This is more
dyslexia?
training for teachers.
Okay.
For, or helping to identify and remediate students with dyslexia. So she's a nationally known authority on dyslexia, and so it's great to have her to work with our teachers, especially our Title I, where we do have students with a lot of reading gaps.
Perfect.
All right, any other questions? Okay, call for a vote. Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Julie? Aye. Chair votes aye. Moving to operations, 7.1, discussion and possible board action regarding the Bixby Public Schools Board of Education notice of regular meetings for the calendar year 2025.
All right, board members, if you'll take out this sheet, I shared it with you the other day, just to give you a first look at it. It is a little different than what we've put out before. The 2 months that were, typically they are the second Thursday of a month for our regular board meetings, other than January 16th. And that's because of the return from winter break and not having a lot of time, because we're coming back, I think, on the 7th. So it's a little late, so we moved it to the third Thursday there, and then in July as well, because of the 4th of July holiday. You'll notice that the Monday in June, we moved it from Thursday because it conflicts with the COSA conference, which is the annual school administrators conference. So we're proposing that we do that on June 9th on a Monday. And then finally, you'll notice the change of addresses. The 601 South Riverview is the new high school community room. That's the address. But for the June, July, and August meetings, since those are more lightly attended, we'll just do those in the admin building for those months. Did anyone, when you looked at your calendar, see any conflicts or anything that we needed to look at? And Mr. Cheatham, I know your schedule.
Always.
Always up in the air. What's that?
One conflict, but we're good.
Okay.
All right, so I make a motion, we approve 7.1.
Second.
Okay, call for a vote. Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.2, discussion and possible board action to approve a new activity fund account for the Bixby High School Legion.
Make a motion, we approve 7.2.
Second.
We've moved the responsibilities for the high school Legion group to Coach Tacklemeyer is now kind of overseeing that, and they requested to have the separate activity account so they can do some fundraising. The fundraisers are listed there. But just have a separate account to support their travel and all those kind of things associated with Legion activities. And we'll make sure Coach Tacklemeyer gets full training on the receipt of money and turning that in on a timely manner.
I feel like this program's grown. Oh, there's
It
more
has,
students in it.
right.
Yeah, it is.
More students. We've
Yeah.
tried to expand it, make it more inclusive.
They're actually doing chants during football game and stuff, so it's
Yeah,
good.
that's awesome.
Neat to see.
Appropriate chance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, yeah.
All right, any questions? Okay, call for a vote. Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Aye. Julie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. 7.3, discussion and possible board action regarding declaring items as surplus to be disposed of according to Oklahoma statute.
I'll make a motion, we approve 7.3.
Second.
Pull everyone up? Or is
Just
there a
one.
particular one you wanna see?
There are, obviously, with us moving and maintenance moving, there are a lot of surplus items that we're gonna be identifying and putting in front of you. Most of these are really trash. In some cases, they're not going anywhere, nobody's interested in buying them from us. But we will offer those, if there are schools out there that are wanting to purchase extra furniture, things like that. That's the maintenance stuff.
Page 2 of maintenance. There's some real trash if you could really see those pictures. Old tables.
Old tables, desks,
Multi-purpose.
chairs.
Oh, for multi-purpose,
Oh,
those have been yucky for a long time.
I mean, how many spider bombs do you have to put off before digging through some of it?
Well, I don't know yet. I haven't dug into it that far.
And I think there was one more.
And this list will get longer as well.
Yeah, this is just a preliminary. These lovely chairs are on it. But
49 minutes, all right.
49 red chairs.
So if you like the chair you're sitting in, folks, we'll take bids.
Remind me of my old church chair.
All right, any questions? Okay, do we make a motion, or you did, yeah, okay, let's vote. Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Julie? Aye. Chair votes aye. Moving to number 8, human resources, 8.1, discussion and possible board action to authorize the superintendent or designee to submit a petition for a non-immigrant worker USCIS Form I-129 H-1 visa for, I'm not going to pronounce that name. Umarani, which upon approval will permit her employment with BPS from August 6, 2024 to August 5th, 2025.
So.
Go ahead,
to
no,
begin.
no.
So we have currently a volunteer who is a certified teacher who has been working with a sub at the high school to provide instruction in the area in which she's certified, but cannot be employed yet because we need a visa to do so. So she's been working under a volunteer agreement. She's been teaching biology and chemistry, I believe, and we'd like to change that to a higher. But in order to do that, the district has to submit certain forms saying that we would sponsor that visa, that we support that, we're employing her, and that gives her employment visa for that year. So the year would actually be August to August, and that's based on a different time frame that has nothing to do with us. That's hers, that's what she needed. That's what she's been doing for us, so we would like to make that an employment situation instead of a volunteer situation.
So she is a full certified in Oklahoma.
She has not gotten her Oklahoma yet because they are waiting for this to go through so they can issue it. She has a current cert in New Mexico, and she might have a second one somewhere, but in New Mexico.
Is this pretty common? I've just never seen it.
Well, it's not been common in Bixby. So, I would have to, and when I've talked to some of the schools around us, they haven't all, many of them say they would be willing to do that, but most have not done it. Tulsa may be the exception, but no one called me back from Tulsa, so I don't know.
And she's certified in those areas, like in New Mexico?
Yes.
Okay.
It was common in another district that I worked that had Chinese teachers that came and provided that, and they came on H-1B visas so that they could teach in the States, but then once the visa runs out, then they have to return.
I know we background check everybody.
Yes.
How does does the background differ to try to background somebody that's not us?
We did a social security number background. She has a social security number.
Oh.
So we did do the background check, and that's part of how we let her enter a volunteer agreement with us. We we would have done that without the background check.
We weren't even sure if we needed board approval for this in talking with John Priddy or if our attorney, but it's always better to be safe, just to make sure that we have your authority to go ahead and sign off on this request for the visa for 1 year. And there was some discussion as to whether to request a 3-year visa. We were not comfortable going 3 years. We wanted to just do 1 year, and if it works out well and she continues to perform well,
You can do them annually. The people requesting them typically, either the attorneys who represent people on visas or the people seeking and benefiting from the visa prefer a 3-year cycle because that's fewer fees and fewer paperwork, right, or less paperwork. But since we only offer 1-year contracts to teachers the first 2 years that they work with us, we weren't comfortable with the 3 years, so they're certainly willing to do 1 year, year 2.
Did we make a motion on that? Okay, I make a motion, we approve 8.1.
Second.
Any other questions? Okay, let's call for a vote. Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie? Chair votes aye. 8.2, discussion and possible board action to approve any resignations submitted after the agenda was posted. Any other resignations?
No, ma'am.
Alright, so moving on, number 9, miscellaneous. 9.1, discussion and possible board action regarding the 2025 school elections resolution.
This is our standard, we do this every October, which is basically communicating with the Tulsa County Election Board for a school board election. The filing period is December 2nd through 4th, I believe. This is for board position number 5. So President Tristy Frymer is currently occupying. But this will be posted, and the information about the elections, if there are more than 2 candidates, then there'll be a primary on February 11th. If there's 2 or fewer, then it'll just be the general election on April 1st. Will be to determine the next board member. So we send this to the county, and then they use it to post that election. We'll put this information on our website tomorrow.
I make a motion, we approve 8.2. 9.1, I'm moving around, 9.1, sorry. Second. Okay, any questions, we can vote. Justin?
Sorry,
Oh,
I'm
you're
trying to
good.
play catch up here. This is the same language, right?
Same language every year, other than changing the dates.
Okay.
So these are all the guidelines for when you have to have a primary election and general election are determined by statute. And so on the end of the filing date, if we have 2 or fewer candidates, we won't have a primary election. It'll just be set for April 1st. And if there's 3 or more, then we'll have to have a primary. If somebody doesn't get 50% plus 1 vote on that primary election, then the top 2 candidates move on to the general election, April 1st.
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda? Aye. Julie? Aye. Chair votes aye. 9.2, discussion and possible board action to approve a social media marketing services agreement with Go for public schools for $2,500 to be paid with general funds.
So we currently have an arrangement with Go for Bixby or Go for Public Schools, Mark Ross. You've heard that name before. To date, we have received over $325,000 in grant money from this Go for Bixby account. One of the challenges is that we don't have our own marketing around that. And so what they have developed, he and his social media team, is a marketing campaign to get the word out to local businesses and local citizens, to give them the information about the program and just kind of get the more notice out there. And so this is something that Jess has helped with tremendously over time, getting the information out, but this is just adding another layer to that, trying to get the word out and promoting it. And I think it's a good investment just because it takes something off of Jess's very full plate and really kind of, I think it will pay dividends. The $2,500 will result, I hope, in quite a few more contributions to this fund. For the past 2 years, we have had a teacher empowerment grant, $200. We will be able to do that again this year. We're waiting for him to process that. That's also something to foster innovation in our classrooms, and so it's been very beneficial to us so far.
So how much have we received in past years?
So about 325,000 so far.
So we're up to, okay.
Yeah,
I see.
which is money we would not have if we
Yeah.
weren't participating in this program. So the key is to get more businesses online because they have a larger tax credit, and they can actually receive up to $100,000 tax credits if they do this. And so we have made some inroads with some local CPAs that are trying to reach out to businesses to help them be informed as to the benefits of this program. Companies can actually break even in terms of this because they can claim it as a deduction and receive a tax credit, and then direct their tax dollars directly to the school district for innovative programs. If it doesn't generate the kind of response we want, then we won't renew. Yeah, but this is-
Okay, any questions? Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve 9.2. Second. Justin, do you have questions?
No. Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Nay.
Okay, Julie?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Yeah, nay. Number 10, new business. Any new business? Okay, all right, vote to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Okay, Justin?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Julie? Chair votes aye.